What's up, guys? My name is Brian Kelly with Kelly Family Fitness. Today's video is going to be on forearms, and I've got a few exercises I want to show you. Hopefully they're unorthodox enough that you haven't seen them all. They could make great exercises if you want to improve the aesthetics of your forearms, if you want to increase your functional grip strength, or if you just want to add a couple components to arm day just to make some more variety and have a little more fun with your workouts. Stay tuned and we'll dish them up for you. Now, the first exercise I want to cover isn't that unorthodox, but it's probably one of the most important, especially if you're having issues with your wrists already. Like, say you have a tough time doing push-ups without wrist pain. A lot of people are way too tight or too strong in their flexors versus their extensors. So this seated wrist extension is a great place to start with any forearm training. I want to take my forearm, I'm going to go down a couple inches from my wrist as I set this up. And all I got to do is kind of lean back, post my knee up. I need to be in a position where my wrist can go into a full stretch. I want to run full range of motion on this. And then holding the dumbbell, I'm going to extend as high as I can. Now, all the while, I'm going to kind of figure four right here so that I can keep my elbow locked out. I don't want to do this in a shortened position. It's not good for me. I want to work full range of motion in a lengthened position. So this full stretch, full extension. If you haven't done these before, you'll be able to start light, 10 to 15 reps. You're going to be amazed at how fast you get tired working this seated wrist extension. I have a 1 1/4 inch jump stretch style band. I'm just going to lace it through the handle of a kettlebell. You could also do plates. Kettlebell works easier though. Once it's laced through, you bring it through the opposite side and then just snug it. You place kettlebell right underneath the collar of a bar at about your shoulder height or slightly lower. I generally will throw a plate on the other side because as I'm doing this exercise, you don't want the bar to tip. With this band, I'm going to lace it over the collar and then give it one little bonus wrap. And this just kind of helps the exercise get going a little bit quicker because the band will catch traction on the bar faster. From here, I'm going to do wrist flexion and extension. So I'm going to do like pull on the motorcycle gas and then the other way as well. You want to do both directions. But all I got to do is just start twisting, bring that kettlebell up off the ground. You want to take it all the way up to the top. When you're done, let it out with some control. And then repeat for the other direction. And this just smokes your forearms quick. Great little way to add some forearm work on arm day. This exercise is the kettlebell top roll. It's very popular with arm wrestlers. It's technically radial deviation. You set it up with a kettlebell on top of a bench and you want to work the end of the bench, the skinny side of the bench. You're trying to keep both your forearms on the bench at all times. So you set up like a really close plank. You're going to grip the horns with your whole hand. You don't get to use your thumb on this one by trying to manipulate it or trying to change your grip to give yourself an advantage. You just grip the top of the horn with your whole hand, and then keeping the handle down on the bench the entire time, you rotate it from lying position up to perpendicular and then back down with control. So slide it along the bench and rotate it up and down. It is much easier as soon as you try to start lifting it or if you let it just kind of tip over. So you want to stay in control the whole time. The handle stays in contact with the bench, rotates up slowly, and then back down with control. Kettlebell top roll. Ulnar deviation is when we bring the pinky toward the ulna. So I have two 5-foot PVC pipes. You could do this one side at a time if you only had access to one or like a broom handle. You would stand with your arms at your side and elbows straight, rotate the sticks up off the ground, and then back down with control. If you're using really lightweight, like an empty bar like this, it, believe it or not, gets very challenging with higher reps, 25, 50 rep sets. You can make it lighter, choking down towards the end of the stick. You can make it heavier, choking up, making that lever arm longer. I've also even prescribed this with golf clubs. So if you grip toward the end of the club, you have that metal shaft at the end, adding a little bit of extra weight. Another great way to do this exercise. On this one, I'm going to use a martial arts belt to do supination pronation. Basic setup is a big knot at the end of it. I imagine any kind of a strap could work. These are pretty comfortable. The band goes around the very bottom of the thumb. You don't want it up by the joint, it's uncomfortable. Around the bottom of the thumb, kind of makes a V. Your thumb folds over and then almost like a hook grip to hang on to this. Weight will drape over the top of your hand. And then from here, you're gonna allow your hand to eccentrically kind of fight the weight into supination. And then you're gonna pronate to bring the weight back up. So it's this motion right here. Doesn't take very much weight for most people. I imagine you could start off with a 10-pound plate and go from there. You want to take your time and you want to kind of build into this one. It's a tough exercise. It's tougher than it looks. So hook grip around the top of the hand. I like an elevated surface. I'm doing on the reverse hyper here. Keep my elbow anchored down. Slowly allow my hand to roll down towards the ground, knuckles down into supination. I'm going to pronate to bring it back up. And just this slow and steady, really short little motion. You'll be amazed at how fast this adds up and smokes your wrists and forearms. 10 to 15 rep sets is normally how I work these. Towel pull-ups are a great way to build up your forearms, but they do take your pull-ups to the next level, and you really got to have some grip and be proficient at pull-ups before you do them. You want two towels that ideally match in size. Skinnier and longer is best. They go over the bar. I usually give them a little bit of a twist. It gives you something to grab onto. From there, it's just a regular pull-up. You want to make sure that you come all the way down on each rep. So up as high as you can, back down, full extension of the elbow, up and down. And these things will just smoke your arms. This last one I'm going to show you is for your flexors of your forearm. It's a type of a single arm cable row. What we're going to do is really bias the arm into flexion. I'm going to take a t-shirt and I want to get this to be pretty fat on the grip. So if I kind of fold it up a bit over itself a few times, and then I take this, lace it inside the cable handle, and then I'm going to thumbless grip this, biasing into flexion. And I want to try to keep my wrist bent to about 90 the entire time. From here, I'll step back so that I can get a full range of motion without my weight stack hitting. And then I'm going to just row toward the side of my body and then back out again really slow. You want to be careful on exercise like this to run through a full range of motion. If you get to shorting these motions, you're going to really end up with some elbow trouble in the end. I would start them off lighter than you would normally use for a single arm row and build into that flexion motion. It is tougher than it looks.